G'day team, it's Chris speaking. Welcome or welcome back. First and foremost, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating. I'm doing my bit and wearing my Santa shirt. You're welcome. I want to talk about labels today, and are they important? Everyone's journey with labels is going to be completely different. It is a journey that we all go through individually. No one else can tell you how you're meant to identify or what you're meant to do. It is something that you need to, look inside and if need be, go to therapy. But everyone is going to question their labels at some point in their lives. Doesn't matter if it is on the gender spectrum, doesn't matter if it's on the sexuality spectrum. It's just something that we all sort of go through and we question. I find it very hard to believe personally that nobody questions their gender or their sexuality at some point in their life. But there are people out there who'll tell you that they definitely have never questioned it. And that's fine. So, are labels important? If you're asking me, they were important to my journey. The reason being is that I was in this box identifying as a female, and I went to this box identifying as a male, and I hit several points along the way, and different labels and different, terminologies that I used for myself that eventually led me to identifying as a trans man. And that was an important journey, and it is very much my identity today, how I identify to people who know me, how I identify to people who don't really know me. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have outed myself to someone who wasn't sure, and it was just a conversation that happened and happens over and over again, and that's another video. So labels can be as confusing as they are important to someone's journey. There are 400 labels out there nowadays, and that is for gender, sexuality, anything you can think of. There is a label for it. There's a different word for different experiences, which is totally fine, but it can get really confusing to navigate that space. My journey went from identifying as a female who identified as a lesbian at that stage to identifying as a straight trans man when I was socially transitioning, and now I'm over here identifying as a bisexual trans man. And there were different points along the way. I can't sit and tell you that some days I don't wake up and I don't feel 100% masculine. And, my brain still goes, oh, should I be identifying as a trans man? Should I be identifying as a trans-masculine non-binary person? And there are conversations that I've had with people surrounding that terminology and those labels. At the end of the day, I identify as a trans man. I go by he, him pronouns. And on those off days when I am English, questioning that, non-binary status, it doesn't stick because it's not right for me. And it is something that I questioned very early in my transition is, could I just be an androgynous person who identified in the middle of the spectrum as non-binary and didn't have to do very much to find my gender identity and my authentic self. But as I kept discovering, I kept working through labels, I found myself more comfortable in the trans-masculine space. I didn't like the they-them pronouns. They did not work for me. I tried them for about 5 seconds. I don't think I even asked anyone to try them on me. It was just something that I did myself, and it didn't fit. He, him pronouns definitely fit more. Now, the reason that I like the label of a trans man as opposed to just a man is because my journey is different. I didn't grow up as a cis male, and I don't want to identify as one. I find it quite difficult personally to go stealth. I'm much more open about myself and my transition, even with complete strangers. Sometimes it takes them a second to realize, because now I pass much better, and within my voice and my looks, and people just take a second to go, oh, okay. But my experience is different. There are trans masculine people who don't feel that way, who do want to go stealth 100% of the time and only identify as man, and that is totally fine. It is up to the individual, and it's up to us to respect that individual as they tell us how they identify. That's why labels are important to me. It helped me pinpoint where I was comfortable. I did not get to the trans male masculine, the trans male identity or label overnight. It was a long journey. In fact, I identified as a lesbian for about 10 years and was quite, there were points when I was identifying that way that I was uncomfortable, and I started to make connections and see other labels. I view my label as less of a box that I have to fit in and more as an identity. And I think that if we stop putting ourselves in boxes and let ourselves just go with the flow along those spectrums, we'll be a lot happier for it. I think if we start putting people in boxes, such as male or female, we become so rigid in our definitions, and you can see a lot of pre-societal learnings within those boxes which aren't necessarily healthy for us to fit into. So basically, at the end of this rant, you can be who you want to be. Labels were important for me. Don't worry too much if they are confusing for you. It is okay to express and experiment and work with yourself to end up wherever you need to be. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of it, then click on my face. Merry Christmas, guys, and I might catch you in a couple of weeks, but for now, okay, bye.